105.9 Academy FM.
The sound of Folkestone.
That's Terence Trent with Wishing Well. You're listening to 105.9 Academy FM Folkestone. Now, the clocks have gone back this weekend, and it is getting darker in winter. Winter is definitely kicking in now, and we're getting the darker evenings, and as a result of that, I mean, it is more likely that thieves are going to be around. The British Security Industry Association is reiterating advice to homeowners about staying safe during winter, and we've got Julian from G4S Security Solutions on the phone. Hello.
Hello, Shane.
So, yeah, it is getting darker. I mean, there's quite a lot coming up, especially around Christmas. Are properties more at risk of crime during winter?
Yes, Shane, you're absolutely right. We're obviously seeing longer hours of darkness now, as I'm sure we're all experiencing. Earlier darkness in the morning, and it does mean that there are rather unsavoury characters around who will potentially be looking to gain access to people's business and home properties. So, we all need to take responsibility for ensuring that our properties are safe.
So, yeah, it's not just homes that are at risk, businesses as well. Are there any type of properties that are particularly targeted by thieves? You're right. I mean, there's homeowners and commercial properties. And what thieves will look for, according to our research, is that they'll look for the easy target. So if there aren't lights on, if there's no visible deterrent, i.e. alarm systems, then thieves will potentially look at those properties and perhaps look for easy access, perhaps where windows have been left open or doors left ajar. So talking about windows there, what are the most common entry points a thief would have to enter a building?
Yeah, the most common entry points are, certainly in the residential property, is generally through the back and through patio doors or indeed windows that have been left open, and where there are no lights in the property. So we can all certainly do something there by ensuring, before we leave the property, that all the locks are firmly locked and windows are shut.
So a lot of people do leave their windows open, even on them little catches that only allow them to open so far. Would you say most houses in Britain are secure enough?
No, certainly from our research, there's still a large number of properties that even with just a small amount of expenditure can be made a lot safer than those that perhaps have had no money spent on external window locks and door locks.
So you were saying about burglar alarms earlier and how they are a visible deterrent. Some people probably would argue if they've got good enough locks on their house, why do they need a burglar alarm?
Well, it's like anything. So a thief will look for easy access. So if you look at two properties side by side, one with a burglar alarm and one without, then the thief is much more likely to make an attempt at entering the property without a burglar alarm. So there are some relatively cheap burglar alarms that can be installed yourself or through a recommended fitter. So I would certainly recommend that everyone explores those options.
So again, on the subject of burglar alarms and locks, indeed, if you're, for example, looking at house insurance, can you get reductions if you do have suitable security on your house?
Yes, I certainly recommend that people talk to their insurance companies. There are alarms that will allow you to get a reduction on your house insurance. So it's definitely worth exploring with your insurance company which type of alarm would allow a reduction in your monthly premiums.
So again, it's not just the house, is it? I mean, you've got a garden, and if you leave stuff in the garden, thieves can quite easily get into that. How would you recommend people secure their garden and indeed their shed? Yeah, the most
common thefts are from garden sheds. So even this day, typically with garden equipment, whether it's mowers, blowers, and tools, there can be access into sheds relatively easily. So I would certainly recommend people look at you can buy relatively cheap and portable alarms for the shed, but indeed most of the deterrents are please lock your shed. Still people leave their sheds that have a lock unlocked, which obviously is going to encourage people to come and potentially access those sorts of properties.
Right, and finally, if people are going on holiday over Christmas or even just going out for an evening, what would you recommend they do with curtains and lights, for example?
Yeah, so please ensure that you keep the doors locked, windows locked. I would close blinds and curtains, and do leave a light on. And we even hear of people leaving, the television on or a radio on, so that there's some noise and light in the property.
Right, and finally, about the front garden as well, people do sometimes leave stuff in the front garden. I'm guessing you wouldn't recommend that at all? No,
again, please, make sure all your property is put away. And, one good tip is install an external security light that perhaps is triggered by movement, particularly, for front garden. So anyone coming into the property, the light is illuminated.
Okay, thanks very much, Julian. That's Julian from G4S Security Solutions. You're listening to Academy FM, folks.
105.9 Academy FM.
Folkestone's radio station.